So let me try to sum this up and paint the picture for you as best as I can. I am Nick, 38 years old, and my fiancée Julie, 40 years old, have been together for 4.5 years. We have a 20-month-old daughter named Amelia together. She also has a 19-year-old daughter, Isabella, from her previous relationship. So I would say that the issue started right after our daughter was born. She started complaining that I wasn't giving her enough attention or being attentive to her. Moreover, I wasn't pursuing her anymore or taking her out for lunch or dinner. While I tried explaining to her that things are different now because she has a child which requires a lot of our attention, and also I would try to work on those things. I recall one of our petty fights turned into a really bad situation about a year ago, and she told me that she wasn't in love with me anymore. She said that the spark was gone between us and did not know if we could ever get it back. So in any way, we ended up getting past that and moving on. About 2 months ago, we got into a big fight when her older daughter Isabella was going for a cyst removal procedure, and I couldn't get a chance to check on her all day. I tried to explain to her that I was extremely busy at work on this very day and couldn't manage to call Isabella. Hearing this, she went off on me and shouted how I am selfish, narcissistic, I pass and only care about myself. I was honestly caught off guard by it, so I got angry in return and we just stopped talking to each other. She was scheduled to go back to her country the next week to visit her mom and sisters. The whole week went by and we did not talk or did anything. I drove them to the airport and dropped them off and nothing happened. Still, we did not talk. When she gets there, she texts me, "We need to talk." But I am still super angry about the whole situation. I replied to her, "Go fuck yourself," and then she answered, "Oh wow, okay." So she stays there for 10 days and I only talk through FaceTime with my daughter Amelia. When my wife would pick up, she just hand over the phone to my daughter. In this way, we did not speak the whole time, and then the day comes when she has to return. So she gets back and I go and pick them up from the airport. ABS. We are still not talking. Very awkward to say. While this is going on for 2.5 weeks now, still we are not talking. One day after work, it's the day before Halloween, as I get home and she showered, then dressed very revealing and tells me that she's going out with a friend. I just said okay, so I stayed home with our daughter and she got home at 6 a.m. The next day I went off on her, calling her every unpleasant name in the book, whore, slut, etc., saying how she could be out till that time. She tells me that we haven't talked to each other for almost 3 weeks, and that's why she considers us not being together at this point. We eventually sort of made up our relationship but did not get to the point of any real clarity on this. We are not together, BS. So anyway, at this point we are talking, but not how we normally would. She's acting sort of like cold and distant, but I'm trying to do little things to make her happy. One night after work, I call her and when she picks, she tells me that she was going out to eat with family at a restaurant. So I decided to go there to surprise her. Then I get there and call and she tells me they have changed their minds and gone to a different place. So I ask where and she wouldn't tell me. Very strange. My gut at this point tells me something is up. So I order a tracking device and put it in her car. One day after work, I call her 4 times, but she doesn't pick up. She calls me back and I hear an echo in the background, like she was in the bathroom. So I ask her why she's calling me from a bathroom. Then she told me that she was getting a massage. That's why she couldn't just pick up the phone on the chair. She just gave me some bullshit excuse. So then again, I ask her, "I have a feeling something is going on. Can you tell me the truth?" And she goes, "Why do you feel guilty? Are you doing something?" and hangs up the phone on me. But then I check the GPS on the tracking device and it's right in front of a hotel at the same time when she told me right away that she was at a massage parlor. At that time, the feeling of rage, betrayal and deceit is just beyond heard. So I started driving towards this hotel and get there. I saw her car parked right in front of the hotel. I sit and wait for about an hour in my car and finally I see her walking out of the hotel with the guy. Instantly, I stormed towards them and got front in both of their faces. God help me for how I did not put my hands on this dude, and I cursed her out. Seeing the situation, the hotel staff called the cops on me. I was so irate, my face was seen blood red by every person on the road, but then somehow I managed to get in my car and drive home. She eventually comes home to me and tries to justify that she's been asking for me to be more attentive, fun-loving, going out more, and more passionate of her, and I did not give this to her for over a year, so she had enough, and she considered herself single. She said that I am the one who pushed her to that point. So then she confesses that she's been talking to this dude since she went to her country about a month ago. He's been going to her job place and bringing her food. They often went out for lunch, and the night, she was out until 6 a.m. She was with him, but get this, she claims that they've never had sex. All they did is only kiss, but it was kind of more emotional than physical. Like, how stupid does she think I am? And God knows how much information she is telling me. I'm sure there's much more to it. It's been 2 weeks now and I just feel disgusted at times. I get these vivid imaginations in my head of her fucking him, and I confront her about it, but she would not admit to it. She even swore on both of her daughters. ITK, where to go from here? I'm sure everyone will tell me to just leave, but it's not easy. But I decided to give her another chance, which would also be because of our daughter. She's still an infant and needs full-time care from her parents. I told her that we should sort out our differences for the sake of our daughter, if that's needed. Remember this, the purpose is I wanted to make things cool and normal between us, because I just wanted to feel the love there was in the early days of our relationship. My love was never fully over for her, but it also needed a spark to come back to its life. One day I told her to let's go out for lunch. She first ignored and shouted at me for being rude and careless for so many days. Yet I wanted to end this fight. I got up and instantly hugged and loved her. We were finally together again after so many days. Then she instantly went to get ready, and I was relieved and happy. After she came, I was waiting in the car porch for her. She wore a beautiful black dress and I just hooked and said wow. Our younger daughter was also with us. She was also enjoying the atmosphere out there. We were sitting in a hotel enjoying our lunch when suddenly she receives a message. At first I did not notice because I wanted not to ruin our lunch. But then she asked for the ladies' washroom. The waiter guides her the way. After spending 15 minutes, she comes back and had a blushing look on her face. I teased her about the way she was looking. She just smiled and sat with me holding my hand, and I was satisfied. How stupid was I not to notice the changes then? After lunch, we went towards the beach. She had our daughter in her arms, and I was holding my wife's hands. This was the most beautiful moment in these days to feel. We sat there on the beach sand and saw the amazing sunset view displayed over the horizon before us. After spending some time there, we both then got back to our home. That night, ABS, we both made love after such a long time. It's been 3 months now and we have been giving each other due attention and care, and she's happy with me. I'm also relaxed, but those thoughts of her with that other man often give me anger and pain, but I managed to face this. But get this, on one day when the monthly medical checkup of our daughter was scheduled, she called me and asked me to take her to the doctor. I told her that I was busy with some work. Suddenly, she calls me a liar and selfish. Listening to this, I was just dumbfounded and did not know how to react. How could one listen to this bullshit without any sense? But then I also went off and shouted at her, "You're the most egoistic woman I ever met," and I hung up the phone. In the evening when I got home, I was told by our elder daughter that her stepsister had already gone through her medical checkup. My sister was just sitting there silently scrolling on her mobile. I asked how our daughter got her checkup, and she told me that one of her friends took her to the hospital. "What friend?" I asked. "You don't need to ask for it," she answered and then went towards the kitchen. Consider this, would anyone of you want to live with this kind of behavior? It's so much humiliating and disgraceful. But get this, I still lived. We were not talking again, and this relationship of ours again tumbled down. It's been after 2 days since we had fought, and she said to me to go to the airport and pick up her parents as they were visiting us for 1 week. Why she had not told me about this earlier? She felt no need for this, that's why did not tell me. Anyway, I went to the airport and took her parents to our home. They told me that they were very happy to see us together, but in reality, we are as distant as we were living so close. This week also passed by without us talking. I sometimes wanted to end this tension between us, but she did not seem to talk about anything. I spent these days in pain and agony, and survived this time only for my daughter. After her parents went back and I reached back home after dropping them off at the airport, I left towards my room to get some rest. When I was about to sleep, I saw my wife's mobile lying on the bed. Within 5 minutes, she received a message, and that message was from an unknown person. Having doubts in my mind, I opened the message. It was from an unsaved number. The sender was asking how your daughter is doing now. It was a pleasure for him to be there when she was needed him. I was angry about how she can ask another man for this, and this man is also texting her at this time. So I started to scroll down the messages, and this one message is written, "I'm sorry, we had to meet like this in the hotel while your husband is sitting outside in the hall." This was the day when we had gone for the lunch, and she went to washroom and returned after 15 minutes. I said to myself I did not deserve this kind of cheating. I took her mobile with me and went towards the kitchen. I threw her mobile at the kitchen counter and asked for the man who had texted her the message. She took her mobile and then she returned it to me. There was a Facebook account opened on the mobile screen. "See for yourself," she told me in an unpleasant tone. I was shocked to see that this guy was the same who I already had caught with my wife coming out of the hotel when we had our previous fight. She had promised that she won't call or see him again, but seeing the same guy again, I lost my temper and asked her to leave my home. Many of you may think of me as a cold-hearted person at this time when she had 2 daughters to take care of, and I was asking her to leave my home. But for one moment, think for yourself. Do any one of you would ever want to live with this kind of woman? Do you want to bear mental and emotional suffering? I decay what you might want, but I only hope for sincerity in relationships. At first, she was confused to hear this, but then again, I asked to leave now. She hurriedly went to the room and also told her elder daughter to pack her things. I then took my infant daughter in my arms and kissed and hugged her continuously as she had to go with her mother. The moment she appeared again in front of me, she snatched my daughter from me and went for the door. She already had booked an Uber. That day ended with me being alone at home. It's been 2 months since my wife left and I am living alone. Whenever I called to talk to my daughter, she never handed over the phone to my daughter and not even provided me with a glimpse of our daughter. How one could live alone after so much time spent together with family, let alone not seeing his daughter. But at some point, we have to live with the choices we made. I've no idea how many of you might have gone through the same in your life, but listen, choose your partner, that person who knows your feelings and understands the demand of every relationship. He or she must know what rules to abide by if you are going to have life under one roof and have a baby. Well, I have got what I had to because of my decisions. It's your time to make your decisions.